makes it easier to know this, right?
So yeah, you did your research on Acts 2. Did you finally get the proper understanding of Acts 2?
Oh, I know what it says. Those who call. John 3:16. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son, that whosoever.
Yeah, Acts don't say that though. Acts don't say that. And you got a misunderstanding of John 3:16 as well. And you know to flee Esau. Right, go to John 3:16, man. Talking about whosoever. Who was he talking to? It like when the Lord, when you read in the Bible, there's history documented, and they wasn't talking to everybody. You get what I'm saying? They wasn't talking to everybody in the Bible. When we read in Job, it said, Satan saying unto the Lord, or the Lord saying unto Satan. That's who he was talking to. He wasn't talking to everybody. It's like they get in this New Testament, even in the Old Testament, but they like to jump to it. They open up the Bible and go to the New Testament and lose all reading comprehension. Alright? Read John 3:16 up.
John chapter 3, verse 16. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish, but have everlasting life.
Right, go to John 3:1.
It's John chapter 3, verse 1. There was a man of the Pharisees named Nicodemus, a ruler of the Jews. The same came to Yahushua by night and said unto him, Rabbi, we know that thou art a teacher come from God.
So Yahushua is having a conversation with a man named Nicodemus, a ruler of the Jews, a man who studied in the law and the prophets. That's why the Lord said this to him. Go to John 3:14.
John chapter 3, verse 14. And as Moses lifted up the serpent in the wilderness.
If you're a ruler of the Jews, you're going to know about Moses lifting up the serpent in the wilderness. He wasn't talking to everybody when he said that. It's just that simple. Why would a Chinese man know about that? Why would the so-called white man know about that? Why would the so-called Arab man know about that? Why would the East Indian man know about that? Why would the Samoan man know about that? That's not their history. Each nation documents their own historical records. Yahushua is talking to a leader of the Jews about something in our historical records. Read that again, Jim.
And as Moses lifted up the serpent in the wilderness, even so must the Son of Man be lifted up.
Right? Now go to Numbers chapter 21. Start at verse number 6, man. So Moses lifted up the serpent in the wilderness, man. Alright? So Yahushua is having a conversation with the ruler of the Jews about Moses and what he did in the wilderness. Read that again.
Numbers 21:6. And the Lord sent fiery serpents among the people, and they bit the people, and much people of Israel died.
So the Lord sent fiery serpents that bit Israelites, and much of them died. Go ahead.
Therefore the people came to Moses and said, We have sinned, for we have spoken against the Lord and against thee. Pray unto the Lord that he take away the serpents from us.
So these people, they confessed their sins, and they asked Moses to be a mediator and pray to the Lord to take away the serpents. Go ahead.
And Moses prayed for the people. And the Lord said unto Moses, Make thee a fiery serpent, and set it upon a pole, and it shall come to pass that every one that is bitten.
It shall come to pass that what?
Every one that is bitten.
That ain't talking about if you get bit by a snake, no. That ain't talking about if a mosquito bites you, right? Because there is something called context, all right? It's talking about if the Israelites getting bitten. That's not talking, when it says everyone that is bitten, that's the same thing they do with whosoever. It says whosoever, but right here it says everyone. Was that talking about the Moabites? Was that talking about the Edomites in the wilderness? Was that talking about the Ammonites? Was that talking about the Philistines? Was that talking about the Canaanites? They would say no, right? But doesn't it say everyone? Doesn't everyone mean everybody? Right? I mean, ain't that what they do out? So read that again, King.
This is Numbers chapter 21 and verse 8. And the Lord said unto Moses, make thee a fiery serpent, and set it upon a pole, and it shall come to pass that everyone that is bitten, when he looketh upon it, shall live.
So that means anybody, now, if they could find that pole, if they got bit by a serpent and they looked upon it, they would live. No, because it was lifted up for the Israelites. All right? Now go back to John 3. John 3 and 14. All right? So Yahushua is having a conversation with a ruler of the Jews. All right? In the context of behind him saying, whosoever believing in him, he brought up an account about Moses dealing with the Israelites in the wilderness. All right? They was dying. They was being bitten by serpents. Even when you read the book of Sirach, right? Give me Sirach 21 and 1. All right? Sin is likened unto being bitten by a serpent. It's the same thing, man. You know? It's a lot of things where, you know, it's a few things I'll be reading in the scriptures. Yahushua is saying things similar to what Sirach was saying. You know? And I'd be led to believe, you know, he was inspired to say that based off what he read. He read Sirach. All right? Let's read that, kid.
Sirach 21 and 1. My son, hast thou sinned? Do so no more, but ask pardon for thy former sins.
Right.
Flee from sin as from the face of a serpent.
What did the Lord say?
Flee from sin as from the face of a serpent.
Read.
For if thou comest too near it, it will bite thee.
So sin is compared to being bitten by a serpent. So go back to John 3 and 14. And that just make even more sense, man. But they want to read John 3 and 16 and apply that to everybody. When it's not for everybody. Right? They completely throw out the window who he's talking to and what he's talking about, man. And they cherry pick and isolate one verse and try to make it an umbrella for everybody who read it, man. For everybody who hear it. And it don't work like that. You don't do that with any other book in the earth, man. You damn sure can't do that with the Bible. So go ahead, man.
This is John 3 and 14. And as Moses lifted up the serpent in the wilderness, even so must the Son of Man be lifted up.
So the same way, for the same purpose, Moses lifted up the serpent in the wilderness to heal the Israelites. The Son of Man must be lifted up for the same purpose, to heal the Israelites. Of what? Of their sins. When they bitten by those serpents or when they sin against the Most High. It's the same thing. Go ahead.
That whosoever believeth in him should not perish, but have eternal life.
The whosoever pertains to the people that was bitten in the wilderness, because he's saying it's for the same purpose, meaning it's for the same people. All right? And whosoever, again, does not pertain to anybody who just pick up the Bible and read it. Go to Acts 2 and 21. All right, Acts 2 and 21. And we're going to break this down properly. You know, so-called white man, he can't comprehend, man. He got a comprehension issue, right? And he's full of pride, so the Most High would never impart him understanding. Ever, man. And he's going to die. He's going to get enslaved by the Israelites, and he's going to die in captivity. All praise to the Most High, man. You're sick of Esau, man. You can't be honest, man. You can't be honest. Go ahead.
Acts chapter 2, verse 21. And it shall come to pass that whosoever shall call on the name of the Lord shall be saved.
Read.
Ye men of Israel, hear these words.
So once again, who was he talking to when he said that? Was he talking to the Moabites? Was he talking to the so-called white man? Was he talking to the Arab man, the Ishmaelites? He was talking to the men of Israel. Why was he talking to the men of Israel? Go to Joel chapter 2 and verse 32. Right? Because Peter didn't make that up. Peter is repeating a prophecy that he read in what they call the Old Testament, man. Peter was quoting Joel. So to understand the prophecy, you got to go to the prophet that wrote it. You want to know who the whosoever is, go to the prophet that wrote it and that spake it. Read that, King.
Joel chapter 2, verse 22.
32.
Verse 32. And it shall come to pass that whosoever
That what? That whosoever
shall call on the name of the Lord shall be delivered.
shall be what?
Delivered.
So whosoever call on the name of the Lord shall be delivered. Now he's about to tell you who's going to be delivered. And that will be who's the whosoever. Go ahead.
For in Mount Zion and in Jerusalem shall be deliverance.
So the whosoever pertains to the people of Mount Zion and Jerusalem, which would be the Israelites. That's why Peter said, yea, men of Israel, hear these words. Because he's reciting the prophet Joel. He's not going to switch it up and say the whosoever is for everybody. Simple, man. Now go back to John 3:16. All right? But they have a lack of comprehension skills in the Christian church. Right? They can't retain the knowledge of the Most High, man.
John chapter 3, verse 16. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish.
And the whosoever is for Mount Zion and Jerusalem, the Israelites. You men of Israel hear these words. Go ahead.
But have everlasting life.
Right? Now, in Yahushua was quoting the prophet Isaiah when he said that. Go to Isaiah 45:17. To make it even more bad for the so-called white Christians. He was quoting Isaiah, man. But they don't like to read the prophets because the prophets don't pertain to them. They like to take the New Testament and switch up the whole doctrine because Paul, the apostle, uses words like Gentile and heathen. All right? So read that.
This is Isaiah chapter 45, verse 17. But Israel shall be saved in the Lord with an everlasting salvation. Ye shall not be ashamed nor confounded, world without end.
And Israel is their world without end. And Yahushua understood that. He was quoting Isaiah 45:17. Go to John 18:20. All right? Because world doesn't mean everybody on the earth. Right? You don't go to SeaWorld and expect to see every animal on the earth. All right? It's the same thing, man. Nothing new under the sun.
John chapter 18, verse 20. Yahushua answered him, I spake openly to the world.
I spake openly where?
To the world.
Go ahead.
I ever taught in the synagogue and in the temple, whither the Jews always resort.
Whether the who?
Jews always resort.
So the world he was speaking openly to was the Jews. He was speaking where the Jews was. He wasn't speaking where the Ishmaelites was, man. He wasn't speaking where the so-called white man was, right? That's the world, man. But they can't comprehend the knowledge of the Most High, man. It's too deep for them, man. The simple things of the Most High. It's too deep for them, man.
There you go. That's
right?
what you were talking about, right? Yeah.
Give me, how y'all doing, fam? Y'all got time to hear about them first? All right. What I thought so. Oh, go back to John 3:16. Read it one more time. All right. One more time.
John chapter 3, verse 16. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him shall not perish, but have everlasting life.
Right.
For God sent not his Son.
For God what?
Sent not his Son,
right,
into the world to condemn the world, but that the world through him might be saved.
So the God sent his Son that the world through him might be saved. Give me Matthew 15:24. Who did God send his Son to? To just put the nail in the coffin at this point, man. Who did God send his Son to? Let's just kill it off.
Matthew chapter 15, verse 24. But he answered and said, I am not sent but unto the lost sheep of the house of Israel.
That's the world right there, man. The lost sheep of the house of Israel, man. Israel, world without end. Where the Jews resort, man. Alright? And he didn't want that spiritual beatdown, man. He kind of got up out of here, man. The wicked fled, man. Give me Isaiah 21:15. Because he got confounded last Sabbath, man. He got confounded last Sabbath. Alright? So he didn't even attempt to come up here, man. He came with a new scripture, but he didn't want to get a breakdown.
Isaiah 21:15. For they fled from the sword, from the drawn sword, and from the bent bow, and from the grievousness of war.
Right, man. So he fled from the grievousness of war, man. He didn't want to get cut up here, man. He left bleeding last time, man. I believe he cried in the car too. I know he cried in the car. He was like, John 3:16. John 3:16 don't save no Edomites, man. You can't save no one who the Most High declared to be completely destroyed, man.
I'm calling on Yahweh in my weakness. 613 commandments, I'm gonna keep them. Boy, I ain't no demon, but I'm gonna slide on all these heathen. And I'll pull any precepts, you know I don't need no reason. Second entrance, 6 and 54. Many heathen like Spitto. And Yahweh Shai, he knocking at the door. Is you gon' answer? You hearing or forbearing? These scriptures bring you clarity. The tribal priest like Aaron. This burden I'm gonna carry. These heathen I'm not sparing. We beat them to the marriage, preparing for the chariot.
It's sifting season, living what I'm reading. Enter to completion, feasting at the Venetian. Scalping Edomites look like they got alopecia. I think her name was Karen, or maybe it's Alicia. She tried to buy her freedom, MasterCard and the Visa. I'm calling on Yahweh in my weakness. 613 commandments, I'ma keep them. Boy, I ain't no demon, but I'ma slide on all these heathens. And I'm pulling precepts, and you know I don't need no reason.
I told myself I really wouldn't go pick up the pen again until I seen our people, they struggling in the pen again. If you said you repented, why the hell you about to sin again? Keep your loins girded, it's time for us to be men again. Edomites, they bloodsuckers, might just call them Dracula. Get the scripts, have me flipping pages like a spatula. Why your soil lacking, gotta keep that thing attached to ya. Marry the Most High, first connection like a bachelor. We dedicated, trying to feed the sheep and heal the weak, that's what we delegated. You think that we teaching on the block and we not educated? Step back from that syrup and them pills, act like you medicated. Israelites, we blowing up the streets, it's like we detonated. TNT, come on book with us, this ain't no B&B. Yahweh shot a rasa, we perform like we B&B. Shutting demons down like I ain't get the call, that's D&D.